We are live. All right. So what's going to happen is, hello, everybody. We are going to see their feed, their comments
Okay, I
start
see
to come up.
comments. Okay, cool.
Yes. So we
Actually,
should be able to see their live comments. And
nice.
I'm going to actually log on. Let me kill my sound. And I'm going to log into the group just so I can see what happens. I see Facebook users saying, hey, so this is going to be interesting. Hey, guys, we are
Hi.
jumping in live with you. We're going to play around for just
The
a
name.
moment.
It doesn't say the name.
No, but I'm going to log in so we can see these names.
Okay, cool.
All right, so we look amazing. Looks great. Okay. They know I'm super transparent with the process. Oh, we have folks on. Okay, so I'm gonna start shouting some folks out. So we have Des Johnson. Hey, Des. Keith Henry. Frida's on. Hey, we listen, Keith. My pleasure to be patient. Allison Booker Brooks. Hey, girlfriend. Hi, everybody. How are you? How are you? I'm gonna send y'all some love too. Okay. So, hey. So, guys, we are going to have some fun tonight. So, let me see how this is going to work. I'm watching these camera views. We're trying a new tool tonight. You know, I'm super,
Yay.
yes, I know, right? I can't wait to introduce you to this power player on the screen with me. I just want to make sure that I am in the screen view. Okay. So, make sure we got this side
I
by
can see
side.
you pretty well because somebody said, "What is the agenda tonight?" So they know you have one.
What are y'all thinking? What are y'all thinking? We got some stuff for you tonight. Lavera, Kamika, K. Cam McCoy. Hey, beautiful. Paul Hunter. Sel Can's my BFF. You got to
Oh,
know that.
well, welcome.
Sel Can. Grace and Marshall, you're on. I love it. I love it. All right, guys. So listen. First of all, I miss my smart CEOs. So I sent them a love note earlier this week, Sel, and I was like, listen, I kind of miss you guys. And I need to be with you. Isn't it awesome?
Yes,
It's
no,
so cool to have a community.
everybody can get. Soak up all the yes, absolutely.
So behind the scenes, I've been super busy working as feverishly as I can. And I feel like I've been working more from home than I normally would, like from home at the office. Crazy. So as we're growing and as we're all adapting to what's going on in the world of COVID-19, we know that's happening. We know that's a part of our world. We're in like week 3. And one of the things I want to, before I introduce you all formally to this fantastically lovely lady on the screen with me, I want to talk a little bit about a couple of things. First thing I want to talk about is the power of collaboration and investing where you sow. So, no, reaping where you sow. So, if you invest, spending time and investing more time there. So, if you invest dollars, invest your time. I want to talk about that because that is exactly how I ended up colliding with this fantastic lady on the screen. And I'm going to show you guys a little bit of the rhythm of how we move. And the world of smart CEOs is designed simply really right after the same pattern. And so if you haven't, first of all, happy Smart CEO Thursday. And if you haven't downloaded the book, Show Up Ready, you should. And you should, this is a great time. It's a fast and easy read. Go to the website, click on Smart CEO, the Smart CEO tab, and download Show Up Ready. It is a great opportunity for you to figure out some of the things, the unique things you can do to work through your networking and your engagement and your collaboration skill set so you can really make connections that matter. And I'm going to tell the story about how we met. And so part of what we've done with the Kyra company is made sure that we were certified. So part of our certifications, and that includes our women-owned certification. So we're a nationally identified women-owned, minority-owned business. And so we are 51+% owned by women. In fact, 100% owned by women. And so part of that certification includes connections to those certifying bodies. And we were at a women Can't get it out. A WBE, a Women Business Enterprise event. So we're at the luncheon in maybe August, maybe? Was it August? And when I got out of the car, I had an intent. My intent was to connect with 7 people, and I wanted them to be potential clients. I wanted them to be potential collaborative partners, and I wanted them to also be future, like kind of network support, right? So I wanted to connect with people that were of meaning, that would grow my business, grow me, and kind of forward the work that we were doing. And so walking in, and I'm talking about like within the first 10 minutes, I collided with a business that happens to be on my client roster right now. I collided with another business that happens to be on my client roster right now. And then as I was walking back from a conversation with the second company that I collided with, I walked into this lovely lady right here. And I remember it. I don't know if you remember, but I'm going to try to do like a little dramatic interpretation,
Okay.
you guys. So,
I'm going to tell you if you're right.
So I'm walking with clear intent, and I walk into this lady and I'm like, so who are you? What do you do? I think I was just like super forward, wasn't I?
Yes.
I was like, you are absolutely fabulous. And I just want to understand what it is that you do. And do you remember what you told me?
I said that's a loaded question at this point.
So I had to work for the info, right? She was playing hard to connect. So I did it. Hard to connect, not hard to get it. Okay, so I said, well, what do you do? And she's like, well, I run a construction firm. I'm like, what? So instantly I was like, girl power, like I was all in. And then I'm like, okay, but what else? And you were like, but that's not it. And so I'm like, well, what else? And so like in the middle of a crowded room, I'm stopping everything. And we are like, her hands were full. We're in the middle of this conversation going for it. And so you guys, I want to introduce you to, I'm going to let her tell you the what else. Introduce you to the lovely Sel Evans, CEO and absolute power player. And I want you to get to know her, all that. If I had applause, we would get clapping it up for you. Welcome to the
stage. I hear the applause. I hear it. Okay, so hey everybody, I am Sel Evans. I am going to go ahead and introduce myself from the point of when I was running the construction company. So I don't know how I ended up running a construction company. I honestly still don't really know much about construction. But when I walked into the construction company, it was 21 years old. And I think we were grossing about $3 million a year at that point. So within a year running the construction company, I was able to double it to $6 million. And then upwards of the 2-year mark, we were close to $9 million. So
okay, pause. Because okay. So you had 50% growth?
Yes.
In how many years?
1 year.
I'm just saying. I just wanted to call it out. Call it forward.
So we were able to pretty much close to triple the income in 2 years. And the reason I started at that point of the story is because that's what kind of made me realize what I'm actually passionate about. And what I'm passionate about is efficient processes and business automation. Those are the 2 things that I really have fallen in love with. So that's when I decided to start Masterly Business Solutions. Okay, Masterly Business Solutions, we are a small business solutions company, and we do business automation, workflows. We actually do quite a bit, which is web development, web design, graphic design. So we take our skill set and we apply it into a lot of different facets of companies and growth. We've also taken it upon ourselves to partner with other firms that offer stellar services like the Kyra Company, and offer those type of services to our companies. And that's what I mean when I say we're an all-encompassing small business solution. Okay, so
phenomenal.
Okay,
Like, okay, guys. So you remember? I feel like I'm yelling. You remember when I got on here and I was like, y'all, business automation is kicking my butt. It ain't for the weak. I'm gonna tell you now. I've been doing business for 5 years. I told them, told the people, because I like to keep the clear flowing energy and make sure I push it forward. And I don't think that I'm doing anybody any justice by not telling them that automation is tough, but it is like worth it. Like,
so it's
good, worth it.
Okay, so I see you put the website in there, but it's masterlybusiness.com. So I want them to be able to
find okay, I'll fix that.
Okay, so the reason that it's just a little painful at first is because pretty much what you have to do is you have to, whatever it is that you want to automate, which I honestly, you can automate as much or as little as your business as you want. But everything that you're wanting to automate, you have to lay it on the table. Okay, you have to lay it out there. You have to show me how you do it currently, and then also how you want to do it so that we can map how to get you from here to over there. And yes, it's like a lot of unpacking, right? A lot of, this is how I do it, but in my mind, this is how I want to do it. And then we take the systems that you're familiar with a lot of the times. And what we do is we get systems to talk to each other. And this kind of eliminates a lot of low skill tasks like data entry. It eliminates a lot of errors that you would generally see and a lot of waste of time. Okay, so even something like, a lot of us use proposal softwares, right? Yeah. So even something like entering the person's name and email address and all that stuff in there, all that can be eliminated. You don't have to do that. The person should already be there, right?
Well, that's a big part of it when you think about, and I'm just to interrupt because I'm gonna like dissect it a little bit. And I'm also looking at this quality. I don't know what my camera quality looks like. You guys, this is our first time using this tool. And Stella's a tool guru. And so she hasn't said anything about my camera quality, but I'm looking on Facebook Live and it looks a little patchy. So I don't know why. But anyway.
Mic automation. See that?
We love automation, the foundation for more profit project management is Six Sigma. Yes.
Yeah.
And so
both.
What I was going to say was, go ahead.
It's absolutely both. To answer the question on whether it's project management or Six Sigma, it's absolutely both. It can literally take your entire project management processes and create it to where every single time you take a step, like a lot of us like these Kanban views, right? So there are a lot of different softwares that offer that Kanban view. And you can have it to where as you're moving the cards, because I personally like to move the cards myself, but as you're moving the cards along this process and getting your sense of accomplishment because you've done something that day, you can have things triggering in the background happening for you as you're just carrying on your everyday stuff. So like things like calling your clients or calling your prospective clients, going to see them. These are things you don't want to automate, right? Because these are the things that you still have to have your personal time.
Right. Yeah.
So there's always going to be parts of your business that you really can't, well, you can't, but don't want to automate, right? Because essentially your business is still you. Okay. Mm-hmm. There are other aspects of it, sending these follow-up emails, your onboarding process. So much of your onboarding process, you guys, can be automated. And you know what that means? If it's automated, you don't skip any steps because it's all happening.
So, no, this is good. I want to slow it down for them. So when you start thinking about your business, and I'm going to use me as an example. So been doing business for 5 years, right? We've been working. Okay. And there's a comment for you, Sel, right there too, from Charles. So when you're building your business, it's important. And we talk about people, process, and profitability. And those are the three main core characteristics of every business essential for success. When you're thinking about how you're going to bring your product to market, right? How you're going to engage with that customer, how you're going to engage with that employee, the process that you're going through in your head is the process that you're writing down, then becomes the process that you automate, because everyone's at a different pace. Some folks are way ahead in the automation game and understand the language, and some are not as much. And so I wanted to break it down a little bit, because for those that are trying to figure out why this is super important, And it's going to be this simple quote: you either have time to do it right or do it over.
Right.
That's it. And you learn how to optimize and save money when you think about or know what some of your options are when it comes to automating your back office, automating your daily processes. So I just wanted to kind of put that in perspective. But so let's talk about, we have some statements out here from Darrell. Darrell saying he's identifying someone. Oh, he's tagging someone in the post. Okay. And then Charles said, so you've created a hybrid of sorts. It's most effective in the consciousness created in the frontline users. Yes. So he's basically saying you've merged kind of the,
but
you want to address that?
And what we've created really is the concept, right? But the way that we execute on this concept is going to be different from each client that we have, right? Because each client works in different ecospheres. For instance, if you like to work over in this CRM, we'll generally try to start here and see how does this CRM, does it have a open API, right? Is it developer friendly is what we call it. Is it developer friendly? Will it let the other softwares talk to it? If not, then we might want to look at something else. But if it does, there's always custom solutions. So even the ones that aren't necessarily as developer friendly, we can usually bridge some sort of connection, right?
What's a quick example of something that everybody's using that we can kind of like marry together?
Oh, there's so many. Okay, so let's Microsoft 365. Right. You and I have talked about Microsoft 365.
Yes.
And Microsoft 365 is not only very developer friendly because it does have a lot of different automations and integrations. They've worked very hard on integrating with DocuSign and integrating with all kinds of other things. But in and of itself, it has Power Automate. So there are actually automation steps that you can take with just in the Microsoft 365 suite that these programs can talk to one another. Okay,
so for the smart CEOs, if you guys have Microsoft 365, can you just put 365 in the comments so we know if you guys have Microsoft 365? You know there's always more, right? So let us know if you have that, if that's your tool that you use. And then we can kind of make some decisions around that too, because not only is Stell my powerhouse friend, but she's friend to the Smart CEO community. And so there are always more opportunities for us to bring more insight and training. So if you have 365, start loading us up with the 365. I see some coming in now. Okay, go ahead, Stell. I stopped your comment. Go ahead.
Okay, so I see some questions. I see human factors engineers in your process modeling for companies to determine user adoption rates. So for something like a user adoption rate, I would probably have to get Kyra involved. Generally, what we do is we do take it from the very first aspect, we take it into process. How are you currently doing the process? So we're going to bring anybody in who's part of that current process. What we do is we ask them what their pain points are. Okay. And our aim is always going to be to eliminate those pain points. And I mean, if we can't take the entire process off of their plate, period, we'll generally try to figure out how to at least eliminate the pain points. We've had something as simple as like a contract approval flow, right? People don't realize that you can use Microsoft 365, which is something that everybody in your office is already using.
Everybody paid for it.
To design a contract approval flow to where this contract over here does not have to sit on this person's desk and be reviewed before it can move on to the next person. That's a waste of time. Like that's a huge waste.
Okay, so even in that, if I'm managing the process and there's a contract out there and it's going from desk to desk virtually through the automation, then I can also watch it do its thing, right?
Right, and then you can always have people who maybe now this is why you have to map out the process. So you can always have people who maybe their sections of the contract don't coincide. Right? Like there's nothing about what this person's going to do to the contract that's going to affect what I'm going to do to it. So then these people can be working on the contract at the same time. And guess what? It's going to get out the door a lot faster because these two people were able to work together at the same time instead of waiting for it to go all the way down the pipeline. It is amazing. And I feel like you can do
like freaking amazing, because not only that, but look how much faster you get to your dollar.
Right.
And so Charles says,
your satisfaction goes up too, because those people are not complaining about that gosh darn person over here who keeps keeping the contract for 2 weeks, because there's more visibility to it too. So that person's probably going to be less likely to let it sit there on their desk too.
We'll be like, listen, Linda, I see you're holding it in your queue. Can you move it down the line? Yes, me all day. But I think that is.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, I think that is critical. And someone put in the comments as well that they use 365 in Google. So I want to talk about that real quick, but I wanted to mention, yes, to Charles, we do. So from a strategic development standpoint, we're looking at those current state models and your desired state model, so we can figure out the delta, which is your change in between, right? How do we get you from where you are to where you want to be successfully? And that is where the most dynamic part of the automation actually happens, when you actually get someone in there to mind map with you and start to identify your path to the desired state. And that's where Cell and I probably would collide and make this live. And so this is where she really breaks open the egg, so to speak, to figure out where all these pieces need to go so that you can successfully get through the gap analysis and to the desired state. And I mean, I'm probably the best and worst student at the same time. I'm gonna do my work, but I'm gonna like, it's like chalkboard and fingernails.
I wouldn't take that far. See, okay, every client is very different, right? Every client is going to want something different, right? Every client is going to be at a different part in their development to where they want to be, and also working in different softwares. So the Microsoft 365 and Google meshing, because I know a lot of people do that, especially if you have a full-time job and and owning a business or multiple businesses. A lot of times we do use both. Okay, there's a lot of things that you can do, because like the irritation of having two different calendars, right? Or what email did this go to, right? Or things like that can be quite aggravating, and actually kind of make us lose some efficiency, because then you're spending too much time looking for stuff. So that actually, there's a lot of different automations that can work to really help those things come together into one beautiful little package, right? And just make you be able to shoot things out so much faster. And that efficiency is going to show to your clients, and it's also going to show to your employees, because they're not going to be as stressed either. Really, I love being able to create it based off of what the client needs, and not just have this out of the box and be like, oh, why don't you just use this one, and have to get out of what you're comfortable with and move you into something else.
And I think too, one of the things, and I'm just using my experiences, and first of all, hello to everyone that's joined us. So hi, Kim. Hi, Paula. Charles, of course, we got you out here. Ken, Grayson, Lavira, using 365. We're going to want you to not only listen, but think about what else you're using inside your 365 suite, so that you can figure out what else you could optimize. Because if you're paying for it every year, you definitely want to maximize it. Darrell Norris, techie.
There's a lot of 365. I could go on all day and still not cover everything.
And we're wasting a lot of money when you think about it, because there are tools out there that we're probably buying somewhere else, right? We had this conversation. I was like, hey, so I need a CRM that's going to work this way, right? I need something that's internal and something that's external, so that I can have some separation of information just for my own personal preference. And you were able to look at what we're using, and you're like, well, shoot, Kyra, half of this stuff that you're trying to do, you can still do in 365, but you've already invested in this other stuff. So I think for a lot of people, it's like, we don't even know when we get it. We're just like, it comes standard. It's like tires on a car. Let's get this.
Right. I think, Microsoft's a huge company, right? You would just think they'd be a little bit better at really kind of marketing all these things that they can do, but for some reason they're not. They're not. Right. There was even an aspect, it's actually being retired in June or July. I think I've told Kyra about it. There was a CRM that was actually within Outlook. So those of you that used Outlook, there was actually a customer manager right there where you would have been able to see all the emails that come, create tasks, reminders right there within the same place where you read your emails. I think it's being retired because it wasn't highly adopted. So it's things like that. So I think it's my responsibility now to get the word out so they stop taking away my stuff.
Right. Be disruptive. Be disruptive.
They're awesome tools. They're awesome tools. And because they're already where you're living, it's so much easier. You don't have to open this, this other window and then, oh, let me log into this. And, sometimes you forget your password. It takes you 20 minutes to reset that. And so you're eliminating some of those frustrations and you live where you live. Okay. So I really, honestly, I have a really big passion for automation and effective processes. And it's really easy to build them if you really look at what you're doing and how you're doing it and how you can eliminate 50% of it.
The time. So I was going to ask you, you were going to share with us kind of when that love showed up for you, like for automation. Obviously, when you realized you could take a company and triple its profits in a year, great. You didn't even talk about all the recognition they received as a result of your work. I get it. But they did. Like, they're an award-winning company because she implemented solutions that optimize their ability to generate revenue, manage their people, and create processes inside of a very manual service industry. Manual service industry.
And trust me, there's a lot of resistance there. There's a lot of resistance to anything technology.
Absolutely. Listen to this comment from our techie. He's a mobile app developer. He says, I feel like y'all are trying to sell some mobile apps for me right now. Jarrell, get in here on this party. I know you have some automation inside of some of the apps that you're helping folks create. So he's funny. I wanted to ask you this, but how did you, what was that thing, when you knew you had the juice? What was that thing?
Okay, so it's been a long process to figure it out because I just knew that there was something about really looking at an issue and applying everything I knew to fixing it in an efficient way and just eliminating the problem. I have a love and a huge affinity for software. I've always loved software. I study software for fun, and I know it makes me a nerd, whatever. Okay, I just like to work smarter, not harder, right? And the only way to do that, the only way to really future-proof your business is to leverage technology, is to leverage software. Okay, 90% of the time when you pay a monthly fee or own a software or something like that, you don't even know most of what it does, right? And you're just using it for the bare minimum of things and using 10 other bolt-ons, right? For the other things that this one thing can do. So what we did was we took all of our pain points and we put them all on the table. We looked and saw what all our tools were, and we figured out how to best utilize our tools. And once we started to do that, we started to figure out what other tools did we need. Okay, what other tools do we actually need? And then how can we use those most efficiently? And that's how you grow. That's how you make it most, that's how you make it to where you need less people to do more things. And it was amazing to see the company really grow in that manner. And our actual workforce didn't have to grow. Our office, maybe we picked up maybe one or two extra people. Obviously, our workforce out on the field had to grow, but our office operations, we didn't have to hire many more people. We just became highly efficient once we put it all on the table and resolved our issues.
And that's a big question, or I know it is for a lot of companies that I work with. They don't want to necessarily be looked at as kind of automating or giving away jobs because we're automating. Remember, in the manufacturing days when automation came on, they're like, you're losing people. I'm like, no, people have to actually program this equipment. They have to learn it. They have to troubleshoot it.
So this is what I say, and this is generally what I like to tell people. We're not eliminating jobs. We're eliminating low skill tasks. Okay, we're eliminating the things that is brainless. This is not the kind of stuff we want somebody sitting there getting paid however much an hour doing. We want to utilize our workforce and be training them to do so much more than these things that a machine can do, right? Entering information from one area to another, that's just not something that we want to hire a full-time person to do. But if that is the skill level, why don't we train them to do something else? Why don't we train them?
So ultimately, then it's like the ultimate push up to up level, what a minimum wage role could be, what a mid-grade role could be, skill set, task level, education level. It's kind of bringing people up to another pace in terms of job duties and tasks. I think that's a great way to talk through that because on the operations side, when people hear that a consultant's coming in, I've had this happen They're like, so are you taking our jobs away? And I think the first time that I had an employee's department ask me that question when I'm doing observations live inside their space, I'm thinking to myself, man, I remember working for one of the big three. And when that started to become a conversation, automation, offshoring, all that kind of stuff, where we could have 24-hour operations, 24-hour data processing and things like that. And I'm like, no, I am not here to take your job away. I'm actually here to create more efficiencies and increase your capacity to do greater work. And I remember having that conversation, not thinking about the automation of it all. I was just there to do the first level. That makes sense. I think we blinked out for a minute. Create processes that make sense and then keep going. So you're right, Sel. I think big business, just like small and mid-sized business, has to understand the value of optimization, and what you do masterfully is automation.
Right. So but I think another thing for people to understand is the reason that we also grew was we took these low skilled tasks that were keeping people in the office off the table, right? We started to invest in their education. We started to send them out of the office into these trainings, right?
Yes.
So actually pick up other tasks, right? Like, we don't need you doing this stuff that's just not really making us money. We need you skill, getting this certification, doing this, doing that. And that's how we really made our office staff really strong, right? So the office staff was also even able to find time to build a training program for the field, right? And different tests for the field, application stuff. So it was different to have that time to actually sit and evaluate what needed to change. So once we started evaluating what our issues were and resolving it, it became almost an obsession, right? Like, I want to see everything. Like, what else can we make better now, right? Like, it just, we were looking at our processes and seeing what needed to change. And it gives you a different lens, right? When you're looking at something that aggravates you, or something that keeps recurring, right? You just look at it differently once you start to realize how you eliminate things.
I was going to say, I think you answered like a portion of Charles's question. The other portion he's saying, how do you determine the human threshold that technology kind of basically saying, how do you determine what the adoption level needs to be, or how you integrate it when you're bringing technology in based on people's performance? So if you're going to bring technology in, what's that measuring tool? How do you know at what level to bring it in? And then basically, if you're going to influence their ability to perform, how do you know at like what rate or level to bring it in? Now he's getting into some very operational
awesome question. It's an awesome question.
How do you do? Yeah.
So what we do is, since we do it in the ecosphere that you're already working in, right? So if you're already working in Microsoft 365, these are already things that you're generally going to be familiar with, right? So it's our responsibility to figure out what you already know, so that we can get you to the place you want to be. A lot of the time, when automation is working in the background, there's not a lot of adoption that needs to happen, right? A lot of the time we're saying, well, you no longer have to do this, right? Like, that's the part that we kind of you no longer have to do this. There's not usually a lot of steps that are added, or a lot of extra training that goes on after we're able to design the process out the way that they want. Because at that point, it's just about telling them the steps we are able to eliminate from their plate, and what parts they still need to do, or, maybe thinking how they do it a little bit like that. So generally, there's not a lot of issues with the adoption portion of it. Now, when we're migrating over to a whole new system, that's a whole new ballgame. That's a whole new training,
the development, the implementation plan, the communication plans. Here's like where the whole organizational alignment has to happen.
Right. When we're talking about this, when we're talking about just automating and taking stuff off your plate, there's usually not a lot of issues with the adoption there.
So another portion of the question he's asking is, absolutely, we're going from the familiar basics to up level the skill, the team or the task for the staff. But then there are also going to be those things where, hey Fern, hey Tamar, there will also be those things where we're actually implementing new, right? Very new things in terms of how we do business.
But generally, it's going to go off of what we hear you say you want. right? So because we generally can paint the picture exactly the way you want it, right?
Mhm.
There's not a lot of limitations. Like I said, we have a team of developers. So there's not a lot of limitations with what we can do. So if there's something you want done, okay, even if it's a tall order, generally we can make it happen.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what you want. So if this person is complaining, like I'll go back to the contract flow, right? This person is complaining about this, and you're already working in Microsoft 365. We designed the flow to where there's emails being shot out. Okay, when it's time to do something, there's emails being shot out. If you haven't done what you're supposed to do within this amount of time, there's another email being shot out saying, "Hey, this needs to be done." So you're working still in your emails, which you're very comfortable with. So there generally isn't a lot of a learning curve when you're still working in your same ecosphere. Now, changing your that's a whole different ball game, and generally that takes a lot more training. And like I said, I'd have to call somebody like Kyra in to make sure that everybody was on the same page and understood the reason for the huge shift.
But so what's important tonight, guys, and we're getting close to wrapping, but what's important tonight is that we wanted to bring this layer of business development to you, as a lot of us are working probably more intensely inside of our businesses, working on our businesses versus being in the space of delivery on our business, because we're fixing the things that's been on the list. We're addressing, the things we need to do to optimize, to save money, to manage money differently, to look at our workflows, to encourage our clients to engage in our workflows, to optimize the use of our tools, things like that. I know I even have a tool, the current tool that I use that has a backside for client interface, and I haven't even opened that part up yet because my system was still messy. And so we're fixing that now so we can actually optimize client engagement, because now where I'm using Google and I'm using 365 and I'm using my CRM tool, my internal tool, well, we can flip that and we can actually allow our clients to interface and have immediate access to their entire project plan, their project log. They can log on, see latest documents and all of that. And Google can still be my internal warehouse for information, but my clients don't have to play there. They can play in a tool that's literally designed, custom, and logoed for my business. And so has been so instrumental in doing it. And I've had the system, so it's not like I didn't want to do it. It was about time. It was about structure and having someone aligned to think big with you. And I think that has been one of the most powerful things that we've experienced, is having someone like Sel to think really big and open up understanding around what we can do and how to optimize what we actually have. And so I'm going to kind of transition a little bit. So first of all, Sel, masterlybusiness.com is where you can reach Sel Evans. Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. And on her website, there is an info page where you can send her a note. I don't know what the tab is. What's the tab?
When you land on that first page, you can book a discovery call. We can talk about what you currently use and things like that. I mean, it's all over the page, but it'll say book discovery call. You can also go to the contact page and drop us a note there, but lots of ways to reach us. And I am part of the group now, so you can probably reach me in here too.
Yes. So if you at Sel Evans inside of the Smart CEO group, she will talk back to you. And she's an integral part of my world. And so just as intentional as I was about making sure that I was building my business by looking for and making sure I aligned, my energy was right to connect with people that could make a difference in my business. And I was intentional about wanting to make a difference in her business, which was how our conversation actually was being driven. How can I support you? And she's turned out to not only be a great colleague, but such an integral part of how I think about my business. And so we changed a lot. And so she's been able to help me adapt to a lot of the change. And that's been massive. It's been massive. So just know that that's been a big part of it. And so as we're becoming better, the goal is to constantly expose those that have supported our process. I'm big about making sure that the community understands that, there's the village that's out there. We speak that, eat that all day long. And so I want people to understand that. I also want you guys to take advantage, if you can, of the opportunity to think big with me. My calendar's open. If you click the link, it was posted earlier today. We can drop it back in, but it's a direct call, and lots of folks have taken advantage of it. But it's an opportunity for me to think big with you and to help you grow an idea, a concept, help you grow your business really right now, especially while we're all kind of in this incubator. What are you biting on? What are you working on? What are you trying to move the needle on? This is that opportunity for us to make that live. And it's a nominal investment for you to get in there for an hour. It is a power hour. Be ready. And the goal is that we're birthing in that hour. And we've been successful in doing so with quite a few clients that have come on in that call and then realized they wanted to do more. And they were able to walk into to actually join our client roster. And so we're excited about that. We're honored to serve. And we're really, really blessed to be in a position where we're bringing on new customers, but our automation is making this possible, right? Because we're able to see how to move, how to flow. We're not overwhelmed by those onboarding processes either. So they're not perfect, but we do have a solid process. And then the very last thing I wanted to share was, guys, I know a couple of months ago, I put in the group that we wanted to make sure we brought on folks inside the community to join us, just like Sel and I tonight, in our Smart CEO, kind of our Thursday night live, where we're in here learning and growing together. And so I have a roster. And if you originally raised your hand, hey, Latasha Norwood, the project manager guru herself is on our live tonight. Latasha Norwood meets Sel Evans. Y'all need to know each other.
Hi.
She is, yes, currently holding seat as the project president of project management organization. I'm going to mess it up if I tell you which one, but Latasha Norwood, I'm going to connect you and Sel because y'all need to know each other.
Please.
Yes. And so I want you guys to, if you're interested in joining us on a Thursday night and you want to be in a position where we're talking and serving and training and providing information and insight, growing a conversation, will be lots of business, will be lots of fun. So we'll have conversations that hit both sides of the spectrum. But tonight you got two nerdy chicks talking about processes, and we love it.
I love it.
We love it. So we're excited that you all joined us tonight. Sel Evans again is my guest in the Smart CEO community, now a member of the Smart CEO community. So you can add Sel Evans in the group, and she will certainly shout back at you. We'll probably all both be on responding to your comments tonight. So if you have more questions, more comments, want more information, we'll hit you guys back in that in the feed. And by all means, be safe. This pandemic that we're experiencing, this slowdown, is simply an adjustment period. It is an opportunity for us to reset in every way possible. So I advise you and encourage you to take advantage of it. I am as well. I'm working a lot, but I'm also taking some time. I'm sleeping until 8:30, 9 o'clock, and that kind of feels good. I don't want to get used to it, but it kind of feels good. So whatever you need to do to take care of yourself, do that. If you need to reach us directly, you can always hit me up in my messenger. I will respond. If you have my direct cell number, hit me up. And I will talk to you guys very soon. This is Kyra Hardwick with the Smart CEO community, Sel Evans with masterlybusiness.com. And we are excited, and I can't get the right word out. We're excited that you joined. We're excited to share this information with you. And we'll keep chatting in the feed. All right. So the questions and the statements are still coming. All right, guys. We love it. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.